Have you ever wanted another one of yourself? Then what does the life be like for you and for the other you? Today I'll be talking about human cloning and how human cloning will affect the clones and the human society. So, what exactly is human cloning? By definition, human cloning is the creation of a genetically identical copy of a human. Making a clone is done by taking an egg and removing its nucleus, which contains the DNA. Then the DNA is taken from an adult cell and inserted into the egg by removing the nucleus of the egg and replacing it with the nucleus from the cell. Giving it a chemical or electrical shock makes the cell start dividing and become an embryo. After that, a surrogate mother has to be used to make a clone. No human cloning has ever been done so far because there's a constant ongoing debate about whether to clone humans or not. Some say we should, but no, we shouldn't. Human cloning should be banned for its extremely undesirable issues and significantly abnormal outcomes that could confuse and ruin both the human society and the clones themselves. Should humans start cloning people, there will be so many family and social issues. Genetically speaking, a cloned child would be his or her genetic predecessor's identical twin, and that identical twin could be his social father or her social mother, especially if the purpose of the cloning was to make a child for the genetic predecessor. As Paul Ramsey, a former professor at the Princeton University, said, to make the parental and the twin relation might well be psychologically disastrous for the young, it would be destructive to the cloned child. Such a radical alteration of family relationships would be distorting the generational boundaries, and that would add a great confusion to society and the child's conception of the family, as well as the roles of the family members. This is not all though. Article 11 of UNESCO's Universal Declaration on the Human Genome and Human Rights declares that practices which are contrary to human dignity, such as reproductive cloning of human beings, should not be permitted. Human dignity is something that can't be taken away. Each and every person has their own value and are worthy of great respect and must be free from slavery, manipulation, and exploitation. However, when human cloning indeed occurs, it is very likely that the clones will be treated as slaves and subjected to experiments, being the man-made humans. As for real humans, there are worries that the value of the human life would go down if the humans can be cloned as much as people want it. And then there's this threat to individuality and uniqueness. Former US President Bill Clinton said that each human life is unique, born of a miracle that reaches beyond laboratory science. I believe we must respect this profound gift and resist the sinful temptation to replicate ourselves. Once deprived of their uniqueness, humans' values will be belittled, and they'll be treated interchangeably because the society then will always be able to have clones who can substitute the humans. And this is a great assault on individuality. Now, there's the problem of clone status and participation in the society. Bard says that when a child is deliberately made, it is easier to consider the child as a product. And it is, according to many experts, highly likely that the clones will be considered second-class citizens due to their origins. Those who would rather clone humans argue that human cloning will make it possible to clone geniuses, like Albert Einstein, and so improve life through their genius contributions. But there's no proof that an Einstein clone would become a great genius like him or would use the talent for social goods. Besides, Singapore American School's high school AP biology teacher, Dr. Pierce, says that clones and original people they are cloned from may have alike appearances and have alike characteristics, but that doesn't mean that the humans and clones will think alike or act the same. How a person is like is more dependent on the person's surroundings than genes. Upbringing and environment of this new cloned Einstein might turn him into somebody like Hitler. Furthermore, there are serious religious conflicts. As Human Health Care says, some religious leaders hold that cloning humans is wrong under any circumstances. They believe that this activity would violate many of their religious beliefs, and so there's bound to be lots of conflict between this new man-making technology and religions. However, some say that human cloning will help save people because clones can be used as organ donors. A great point, as many people suffer from organ problems. But then what about the clones? They'd have lives too, so would it be right to forcefully take organs away from them against their will and leave them to die? Just because they're man-made? Many don't think so, and former Governor John Angler also disagrees. He says, producing clones for research or to use their parts is unethical. It'd be against the code of ethics of a doctor to harm a clone. The clone would be a human being and deserve all the rights and privileges that a non-cloned human has. A clone should not be a second-class citizen. It is speculated that they would be considered as such. Even though clones may be from labs, they'd still be humans, as they are, living organisms that will think and feel, and so it would be wrongful to treat them inhumanly. Besides, there are alternatives to this matter, like therapeutic cloning that clones just organs or nerve tissues, or organ transplants from the dead, like what's being done now. Equally importantly, so far in cloning creatures, there has always been a very high probability of failures. Dolly, the famous cloned ship, took 276 failed attempts, more precisely, failed ship. At the 277th try, just one succeeded, which was Dolly. Yet no one knows why all those attempts failed and just one didn't. Plus, cloning creatures presents different obstacles in every phase, and therefore, human cloning can't be possible, at least not until scientists know humans very, very well. Maybe 276 failed ships are acceptable losses, but 276 failed humans won't be. Those failed creatures don't just include the dead, but also those so badly damaged that they're aborted, stillborn, or born with chronic deformities affecting key organs, including the head, lungs, and kidneys. And this relates straight to the clone's health issues. There are clear evidences that all the risk cloned animals are at a risk of abnormalities. The animals are all genetically or physically abnormal, even if they appear healthy, according to a Daily Mail article. The animals can have organ deformity, premature aging, massive obesity, and damaged immune systems that all affect their health. In support of this, the creator of Dolly the ship, Professor Ian Wilmot, says there's abundant evidence that cloning can and does go wrong, and no justification for believing this will not happen with humans. The widespread problems associated with clones have led to questions as to whether any clone is entirely normal. You'd have to be ill to be thinking of doing that, and there's no reason to think that the response would be different in humans than in any other species. This isn't all. A study found that almost 99% of animal cloning procedures end in failure, and only just over 1% can result in healthy, living offspring, and this whole idea isn't that likable at all. Then we have the issue of the clone's rights and emotional risks. If the clones are a replacement for the other humans who have died, the clones will receive great pressures knowing that they weren't just born. The purpose of them being born was to serve as a replacement for another, says Patrick Dixon, a futurist and the chairman of Global Change. Moreover, people's possible prejudicial attitudes towards clones can harm them, especially emotionally, and even deprive them of the rights they should have, like the right to live free, and force them to be used as test subjects or organ donors. Besides, them being clones, it's very likely that the people expect the clones to act or relive the life of the predecessor, which will be ignoring the right to an open future. As Joel Feinberg, a famous philosopher, says, because all children deserve to have a life and a future that is completely open to them, and because being the product of cloning would deprive the clones of this prospect, cloning is seriously immoral. In conclusion, with all those unacceptable, freakish, and sickening things such as distortion of generational boundaries in society, failed humans, and use of clones for research purposes highly possible, human cloning shouldn't be done at all. Simply put, human cloning would mean disrupting the whole society, devaluing the mankind, and harming innocent lives to fit out selfish purposes such as researches and forced organ donations. Remember, Dolly took 276 failed attempts, and 276 failed human clones won't be acceptable at all. God knows what will happen to those clones then. Cloning can confuse and destroy the society's whole conception and importance of family, as well as being a human. Think about the human values that will be belittled by cloning. Human cloning is and will always be wrong. It will be wrong a decade from now and wrong a century from now. And here's my works cited as well as my image credits. Thank you for watching.